lot of people see the chickens, the garden, the videos, but what they didn't see was why we started all this. And honestly, we didn't see it either. Welcome to Abundant Fields Podcast, where faith, family, and the land comes together. This is the real journey of building a meaningful life through homesteading, stewardship, and hard work and faith, one field at a time. Whether you're just getting started or rebuilding your life around what matters most, you are in the right place. Let's get into it. What's up, everybody? I'm Jim. This is Abundant Fields Podcast, and we're so glad you joined us today. I have with me my co-host, Melissa. This is my beautiful wife, Melissa, and we just want to talk to you about Abundant Fields. Abundant Fields is our homestead that we started this month, actually made a year. And so we wanted to do something new and different to add to what we're already doing here. And so I've been personally trying to do a podcast probably for the past 6 years. Probably since 2020. So the past 6 years. So and I think this created an avenue for me to do that podcast. And so I'm able to incorporate what I wanted to incorporate back then, even in this, even though we are homesteading, but it's about faith, family, and the land coming together. And so tonight we just want to talk to you about Abundant Fields, why we started Abundant Fields. And I guess I'll start with this question, the reason why we started Abundant Fields. Abundant Fields was an idea, our oldest son. It was something he wanted to do. We didn't have that name at the time, but it's something he been wanting to do for years. I'm gonna say about 6 or 7 years himself.
Yeah, when the pandemic
Yes.
happened, and we began to see problems of getting in the supply chain, problems in the supply chain,
Yeah.
getting food, and it became more of a question of could we be sustainable? I mean, what would happen if the grocery stores closed down? What would really happen?
Yes.
Like, we could see then we'd probably be in a really bad state if we had to depend strictly on the grocery stores. So it got him to thinking, and I kind of think that's where he kind of came from, and just wanted to be able to survive.
That's
kind
right.
of where it started with him.
That's right.
2020 really opened my eyes to where it's like, hey, if Walmart ain't got no food, what we gonna eat? You go to the grocery store, it ain't no meat up in there. It wasn't no toilet tissue nowhere in Walmart. Then what you gonna do? 2020 really opened my eyes to show me how dependent we were on not only the government but also these big grocery stores. Like, if all that went away right now, I wouldn't know how to do nothing. That's what 2020 showed me. I wouldn't know how to raise a tomato if 2020 hadn't happened. If COVID hadn't happened, COVID really opened our eyes to a lot of the pitfalls that we have in the country with our current generation.
And so that's where the whole idea came from. But again, it took me and us probably 4 or 5 years since that to really buy in. And so last year he came back again. He had came several times because he wanted chickens. So, and many of you probably have heard this story before, but he wanted chickens. And myself, as well as my wife, we grew up around our grandparents having chickens, and they actually free ranged at that time, just free range for real. And I'm talking about totally free,
and free on your porch,
just free everywhere.
Your furniture outside, your outside furniture,
Right.
all your cars, everywhere. They were truly free.
They
range.
had no boundaries.
No.
So
and I'll say this: when he back in 2020, he actually bought some small little, what do you call those things?
He bought the container bags for a garden
and started there. And then from there on, his dad was like, well, I'll help you break up some land and we'll start a garden. So the gardening part, I think, came a little bit easier.
Right. Than the
animals. So because we did a garden for a few years before, well, ever since then, we've had some sort of garden.
That's right.
So that was one thing, but the animals were definitely a bigger step.
It really was for all
But
of
he
us.
convinced us that it could be done where they weren't all over the place.
Right.
And after some trial and error, I think they did a good job of getting it where they had their own space and they were still able to be free range chickens, but without being all over
The property
the property. Yeah.
and the porches.
Yes.
Every now and then we'll have one to get out and visit us on the porch, but as long as it's not all of them. And we also have 2 geese, and now we have 2 cooney pigs. And then I have a lot of respect for him at his age wanting to do that. Last year when he came back with the idea again, and he sat me down and showed me one video after the other, a lot of documentaries on the way different people did it way back in the years. And I knew what I had experienced from being around my dad and my grandmother, who we had gardens and we had animals. I remember my grandma milking cows. I remember that. I remember her having the chickens, and each year we would do like what we would call a big hog killing, and people from the community would come around and help clean the hogs, and then everybody got some of the meat. So that was one of the things.
And I had grown up, I had some experience living on a farm in that my dad and granddad and my grandmother,
Yes.
they had a farm with pigs, chickens, cows, donkeys, a big garden every year. I still remember the little shed that they had, the little where they could put in the potatoes, where they kept the potatoes.
Right.
I still remember that, and
Yes.
going into that little cool shed. And so we both had some grown up with being around farms and farm experiences, but I wasn't
Me either.
inclined to continue the tradition myself.
Me
So,
either, because I had swore off of it.
Yeah, so I'm really glad that really, if you think about it, it was in his genes. It's in their DNA, because both sides,
Right.
we both grew up with that being part of just where we live.
That's right.
And it's just really interesting that he kind of skipped a generation,
Kind of
but
sort of.
that generation when it came back, he was able to draw us back in.
Because I have a coworker and a friend of mine that we talk about it all the time, how the whole farming aspect is about to be a lost skill, if I say
Lost
that.
art,
A lost art. That's what we say. A lost art.
A way of life.
A way of life
The
is
lost
about
way of life.
right. Because I think society has made us all lazy in a sense, because
Convenience.
the convenience.
And like you said, society is different, and we feel like we have to work out. I mean, you have to work outside the home a lot of times to accommodate the lifestyles that we're trying to live. And so in doing that, homesteading takes a lot of time.
It does.
Now, it can be done. Obviously, it's being done with us working, but it takes a lot of time, and it's not always conducive to having a secular job or an outside job.
That's right.
And so society is just different. The way it's set up, it's about convenience, and that's one of the problems that we face now. Is this convenience is probably convenience is going to take us out at the rate we're going.
That's right. That's right.
It's what we're sacrificing for convenience. I don't think we realize just how much we have over the years sacrificed for convenience.
We need to get our young people back and instill these kind of things in them, because one day, even after we're gone, they need to know if times get hard, they need to know how they're going to make it and how they're going to survive. And we need to go back to what I'm going to say back to, I call it Bible basics, because what we're doing now really is biblical, living off the land. That was God's whole plan. You can read it in Genesis 2:15. He put man in the garden of Eden and gave him instructions to keep it and to dress it. So I think that was God's plan from the beginning, and I think it's time for all of us to get back. But I really do appreciate our oldest son for not giving up and kept at it, wanting to do it. And then after, he kind of, I'm going to say it like I've been saying all the time, twisted my arm into it. But after I started, we bought the chickens in April of last year, but then in May, we officially declared that we was going to do a homestead. We kind of laughed at, I said, well, all us going to do it. I missed out him, our baby son, because he was here with us at the time, and my wife. And she kind of did me like Sarah did Abraham. She laughed. So we're going to make this a part of our podcast. We're going to incorporate our homestead venture that we're about to start on. Me and Keaton, Kendall, and Melissa. But I will say this for her, she has been, I'm going to say, a big support and a big help because she said, now I don't know about the animals, and you can talk a little bit about that, but she said,
I
I
know
help.
about them. I'm not gonna fool with the animals. I
But
know.
she'll get in that garden
But
and
yeah,
work that garden and help me in the garden.
yeah,
So I really appreciate her for that because and we've been doing a lot together since we started this.
yeah,
And we'll tell some more about that in a minute. But after that, that's how we kind of got it started.
yeah.
Then at some point, I guess I kind of got obsessed with it. And I say that because of the way they treat me sometimes.
No, I wouldn't say you're obsessed with it. I just very. It's just really something that you've grown to love, and there's nothing wrong with that.
That's right.
I don't think you're obsessed. I just think you really become dedicated to it and willing to put into it
Whatever it takes.
what it takes to make it work.
And
Yeah.
and that's correct.
And that's how things become successful. You got to
That's
have
right.
somebody that's consistent and dedicated to the process. And so that's how try to look at it. And
Yeah.
I really think it's been a good thing for him because
Yeah, I was
it's
gonna
giving you another outlet.
say yes.
And because for years just really focused in just on church and just going to work. But this has allowed you to incorporate church, incorporate your health,
Yes.
and because it has been a faith walk, it has been a faith journey,
Yes.
and being out on out doing the work is time to meditate and think on the word and
Yes.
things that can it just gives you some time to yourself to focus and some time to meditate, but in a productive way, and it's just a good outlet because it's also something you can see the results of.
That's right. That's right.
You can see, and it's just got so many positives to it, and I really think it's a God thing because it has just opened some new interests for you that you didn't even
That's
know
right.
you
That,
had.
that I didn't know I had, and really shocked myself in
Yeah.
taking these interests because, like she said before, because I didn't say this at the beginning of this tonight. Um, I work a full time job, and I pastor a church also full time, and then we have our family that we have to look out for and take care of as well, which we thank God that all of our children are grown. So, and I appreciate where God has blessed them to to be in this day. But before, like she was saying, before I actually started this, it was working church. Everything was working church, and I love church. I love preaching the gospel. I love people because you can't really preach and pastor if you don't have a love for people. And so I do love the people of God. I love the word of God. But and something else happened this past winter. I picked up hunting, and I was just out there in the stand one day, in the shooting house one day, and I texted her and said, women always talk about self-care. I said, but men need self-care too. I said, and because I was out there in the shooting house, and it was so peaceful and quiet, and I'm just watching the deer come in and come out of the patch, and then and I just could think and meditate, do whatever I want to do while I'm sitting there. I said, "Oh, I'm enjoying this just as much as I've been enjoying the garden." And she said, "Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that." And she really that did something for her too, because she said because you need that because, like I said, I love the ministry side of life, but I have a personal life too, and I had to because I would work and come home and try to rest and get ready to do it all over again the next week. But since we started this with Abundant Fields. Some days at the beginning I'd leave out the house at 6 o'clock, and then like be outside all day.
All day.
That's unlike me. That's unlike me, very unlike me. But I do enjoy being out there, and I thank God for her because she don't try to stop me. She just whatever she can do. She'll come out there every day. You need me to help you do something? You want me to help you do something? I said, well, I got it now, but she's right by my side while we're doing this. And our son, he kind of works out away about an hour and a half away from here. So he has his days that he works, but then when he comes back, he do help us out. So that's kind of one of the things I ain't, since she didn't say obsessed. I guess I got obsessed with the chickens. I love the chickens. To me, chickens have their own personality, and if you sit and watch them, they really is their own little what you got?
Entertainment show.
Yeah, their own little entertainment show, a reality show almost. If you watch them, that's all animals though.
Well, I can say this about the chickens, and I think it'll wrap it up. I think it was Jalen. I said, we've been married 25, 26, how many years? 20 plus years, 25 plus years. And I said, your daddy finally has a mistress. He never cheated on me until now. I said, those chickens are his heart. He loves those chickens.
I love the chickens.
But I'm not jealous. I'm not upset.
No.
Because they provide him with an outlet. And,
Yes.
And everybody needs something to do for themselves that brings them joy. And if for whatever reason those chickens do that for him, I am fine with that. I'm good with that. But that's just my little joke. I said, no, those is girls right there, those chickens, those hens.
So, let me ask this question. What did you really think when we first started though?
I just
Were you surprised or shocked? I guess at me, and we kind of talked about it a little bit, but I guess wanted to laugh.
Yeah, I guess just surprised that it became such, that it was
Such an
that
issue.
you embraced it so much.
Yes.
Like that you got so involved in it, in every aspect of it, because it takes a lot to care for the chickens.
Yeah, I guess it do. As long as you got
Well,
a
he
system.
doesn't seem it doesn't seem to be a lot to him. It's a lot to me, but he does have a system. I mean, and it's like clockwork. He goes out there and does it in the mornings and in the afternoons, and so I don't know if I did you. So you asked me what was what I really think. Yeah.
What did you really think when we first started?
When we first started with the garden, I was excited.
Yeah.
I was, skeptical if we were going to be able to keep it up, probably.
Right.
I mean, because it just takes so much to keep a garden up.
Right.
From the planting to the care of the garden, then to the harvesting, and then, preserving what you've grown. So I guess just more concerned about whether or not we would really be able to do it. And not that we couldn't do it, but just time and energy to do it.
Yes.
But it's like everything else. When you if you commit yourself to do it, you can do it.
Right.
And no matter what the circumstances, if you decide that you want to do it, you'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. You'll figure it out. And I think that's another good thing that we got from it. So yeah, that's probably was my biggest concern. Like, are we gonna really do this? Mm-hmm. But so far so good. It's just been growing.
Cause we've been doing sourdough bread.
Yeah, that's a whole nother show.
Yes. Yeah, we'll talk about that another time. But that's one of the things that we have.
It's just different aspects one thing's leading to another.
That's right.
Trying to make a true homestead.
Yes, and so that's one of the things we have been doing. So we and me and her get in there together and do it. So that's which leads me to our next subject that we're gonna talk about. What does abundant field mean to us now? And I'm gonna say it kind of mean abundant fields in itself. When we came up with the name, I just looked at it like because we sat down, we was talking and brainstorming about different things, like my son, things he wanted to see, things I wanted to see, and so we came up with the name Abundant Fields. And you'll see, even if you look at my shirt right here, some people may think that this is a book, but it's not an open book in reference to my ministry side of it, but this is two fields coming together. And so that's kind of what Abundant Fields, because we kind of talked about maybe having multiple properties that we have gardens on and animals on. So we hoping that comes in the future, but not only that aspect where we like bond several properties together, and it'll be one homestead in different locations, so to speak, I guess. But the other thing was it gives us a chance to bond and work together as a family. So that's what Bundy Fields is all about, and I really love that being able, even when our youngest son was here before he got a job out of state. He would get out there with us, and we all spend time out there, and so it just helped us spend more time together, not watching TV or being on our phones, but actually being out in the yard doing different things, or in the garden, or fooling with the chickens and geese and the pigs. So that's kind of what it means. Bundy Fields is more than just a homestead. It's a new way of life. It's freedom. I say freedom, and when I say freedom, freeing us from the system so much. We don't depend so much on the system. We want to be self-sustainable and be able to, if like she said earlier, if things really went awry, we could still manage and maintain ourselves. So that's what Bundy feels. And another thing I like about it, it it's not just us.
Yeah, that's what I like. The bonded, it is talking about because Keaton does have, well, Keaton and Jalen right now have a property, and that's down from us, and they intend to extend some of the homestead operation to that property, and so the fields here and there that would be bonded. But I like to focus on the family aspect of it,
Yes.
because even just our nuclear family, I feel like we're more bonded because um, Kendall, like you said, Keaton, of course, we've talked about his part in it. We've talked about Kendall. When he was here, he not only did the fields, but he also still helps us with some of the editing. Jim does a lot of it.
All our content.
He helps with the content. And Jalen is very supportive. She and John are very supportive. Because they use the eggs. She asked me last week, is it any way y'all could plant kale now? I know it might be out of season. Y'all ever tried it out of season? So she loves the products, the produce from the farm, and she's very supportive. Our parents, our siblings, our extended family, our church family. I feel like it's bonded us, and even the community. I'll go out to a reception. I've been to receptions and showers and different church services, even at work. People in the community. I see people in the store.
Yes.
And they want to talk about what we're doing. So it bonds people together. And then you find out other people are doing the same thing, or interested in doing the same thing.
Yes.
Or they're doing something a little different, and you get to talk to people about it. So it is, bonded fields, it is really bonding people together.
Yes.
And making other people interested in trying to become more self-sustainable. And we've been doing it, like I said, it's been growing every year. And I feel like we've got a lot more that we want to do to really be self-sustainable. But I think where we've come now lets us see that we can get a whole lot closer. Like, this time last year, you would have never told me we would have had all these chickens and cooney pigs, that they would have slaughtered chickens, meat chickens, that we have slaughtered and eaten. All 5 chickens.
Yeah, they didn't.
But at this time last year, I would have never thought that we would have done that.
Mm-mm.
And even the garden we've done more in the garden. So so that's what I mean. It means a lot, and for the future, I just hope to see us like this time next year, for us to be able to reflect and say, wow, who would have thought that we would have done X, Y, and Z?
Yes.
This time last year.
Yes. And even in that, that was another aspect I liked about bring the community, because people just ride by, and it's so funny to me sometimes. We could be out there working in the garden, and you'll see people riding by, and they'll just kind of won't just come to a complete stop, but they will slow way down and try to check out what we're doing. And people comment, well, what's this you got out there? What that do? Or like the silage top, what's that for? What is it doing? And so I have to go explain that to them. But it's been very educational for the people from our community, and people learning that is ways to do farming, they were interested in the regenerative side of it, and so that's what we love. Probably one of the things we love most about it, not using chemical fertilizers and synthetic fertilizers for our gardening. So we just really enjoy the community. And people show up, want to tour the farm, and so we just stop and we'll take them around and show them everything. And then I had for Easter, our family was here with us, and they wanted to go out and tour, and we took them out, and we just having a good time with it, and it's bringing back that community feel. So that's one thing. And I wanted to say this while we're on this subject, like she said earlier, Abundant Field is truly a faith walk. When the Bible tells us that we walk by faith and not by sight, Abundant Field is actually that's what this is. This is definitely a faith walk, and I thank God for it. And I thank God that we had the property that we have here that's really helping us to do what we want to do, so we can make it as big. And this other thing, I'm praying that we are building a legacy for the next generation, and I hope they will catch on to it and don't let it go down, But I'm sure they will. Yeah. So we got this, and I guess where do we want to see it go, or where we believe God is taking us. Um, Really, the main thing was, again, just this week, one of the members from our church sent me a video of her garden and said we had inspired her, and so she started a garden, and she said, chickens are coming soon. And I know she have talked to me time and time about the chickens, and so that's kind of where we see our get self going, hoping we can inspire more people to become concerned about what they're putting in their bodies, and I think that's what all of us should do. Another thing is just getting, hopefully we can inspire the community and the people around us to really look deep into the regenerative practices and start raising their own food, because again, I've said this time and time again, I think a lot of our ailments comes from the food that we eat if we're not careful, and then we sit around and I'm just gonna say it, be lazy, and then we need to get up and move more, because that's an aspect we want to incorporate, is wellness and health into this as well. And just hopefully we can continue to inspire other people and just see where God is going to take this, because if you sit back and look at it, you can see so many avenues and ways, directions you can go with homesteading. We had the NRCS, okay, Conservation Services, Natural Resource and Conservation Service. They came out and looked at our property, and they're helping us with some things, as well as the Extension Alabama Cooperative Extension Office came out, and they toured the property, and they're giving us feedback and trying to educate us, and hopefully y'all will get to see some of those videos for that. So I think it, like I say, we are trying to make an impact and impression on our community, and I believe we are doing that. For real.
I
So,
agree. I agree. And I think you made a good point, because we do want to be sustainable. We do want to do that. But like you said, also a very good point, that we want to know how our food was raised, and I think it'll be a whole lot better for us to raise it ourselves.
Yeah, we know.
Leaving it to the big corporations.
That's right.
It probably sounds like, well, that's a tall order, but we're not trying to do all of it at one time.
That's right.
Taking, it's a step-by-step process.
Yes.
And eventually we'll get to be more, have to rely less and less on getting our food from commercial sources, and hopefully be able to grow and
That's right.
grow our own food, raise our own food, and that was definitely going to be an improvement for our health.
That's right.
That's what we want to focus on, being able to be self-sustained, and also just having better food choices and better quality food, that we know how it was raised and know what went into it. And I think that's another important aspect as well.
Yes, most definitely. I think that's it for tonight. We truly hope you enjoyed this podcast. If this story connected with you in any way, we would love for you to subscribe, hit the notifications button, and follow along as we build abundant fields, one field at a time. Thank you for joining us. Meet us here next Sunday at 4